Welcome back to 1 month, 1 deck with Mega Absol. Mega Absol has been a blast to learn and pilot, and I'm honestly really happy with where the list ended up. For this final week, I didn't change the deck at all. I kept the same exact list from week 3 because I felt it was the strongest version I could build for the current format. Now, I did consider testing Okidogi EX, mainly because it's better into Goldango and doesn't deal damage to itself like Roaring Moon does. That said, Roaring Moon is still much stronger into decks like the Mega decks, since it can one-shot basically anything. So I stuck with the original build instead. Now, for the final week, I entered one last tournament, another 200 plus player event, and unfortunately, this one didn't go the way that I hoped. I finished the tournament with a 2-3 record. Now, Ceruledge is usually one of our better matchups, but both times I faced it, I prized multiple key cards that the matchup really depends on. On top of that, I'll be honest, I didn't play perfectly either. I definitely made a few questionable decisions throughout the entire tournament run, but that's on me. Even so, I still think Mega Absol proved itself as a solid rogue option. I do have 2 matches from the tournament to show you today, one against Gardevoir Jellicent and one of the Ceruledge games, so you'll still get to see how the deck performs at a high level. Now, if you want to try the deck out for yourself, the deck list is linked down below in the description. Now then, with all that being said, let's get into game 1. Alright, so game number 1 is going to be against that Gardevoir Jellicent. So here, our opening is really strong. We have the Buddy-Buddy Poffin, we already have a Toxel and a Budew down, so that Budew is going to be real nice. We also get to go second here, and we top deck into a Lillie's Determination, which is huge. So that means that we get to see quite a few more cards, with the potential of being able to find a TM Evo. That way I can go into double Toxtricity right away. Here, I am just going to get triple Toxel down. That way, in case they do find a way of taking out one, then we at least have a backup for later on in the game. Here, I am also going to put down the Air Balloon and use that Nest Ball to get down a Mega Absol. I am just going to attach the Mega Absol and then swing with the Budew, saving the Lillie's Determination for next turn because we do have a Ultra Ball in our hand as well. So whatever we top deck, we can easily just Ultra Ball away with the Psyduck, be able to get a Toxtricity down, and then all we have to do is just find a single energy off of this Lillie's for the 8 cards to actually start swinging with Absol next turn. Now here they are item locked. They are going to put a second Psychic Energy onto their Munkidori. That way if we do take a knockout on the Munkidori, which we will be doing, then they at least get 2 energy into the bin. Now, for our turn, we do top deck into a Dark Energy, so I do take just a second to think about, do I just want to attach that right now, but getting down the Toxtricity is something that I really need. That way then I'm not having to worry about finding another one, but we do end up finding that second Toxtricity as well, along with another copy of an energy. So here we are just going to use the Toxtricity. Now, there is a much better play that we could have done, and I should have done. I am going to play down this Fez, draw 3 cards. We do find a Munkidori, so I could have just used the Fez first or used that Nest Ball to be able to get down the Munkidori and then attach for turn to that because I do have double Toxtricity. That way then we have a Munkidori powered up as well, and I could start moving damage over so I can try to take multiple knockouts in a single turn on a later turn. Now, and we do use that counter catcher because we are just going to bring up their Latias, so that way then they don't have free retreat anymore, and it does lock 2 energy on their Munkidori as well. Now, in here, we are just looking at their hand, deciding what to take. I'm thinking about taking the Ralts or the Gardevoir, but ultimately, I am just going to take that Lillie's. I sadly have to leave them with a counter catcher, which means that they can just counter catcher something up, and then we have to find a way into another energy next turn in order to be able to move something. Now, if they do counter catcher up the Toxtricity on the bench, we don't have another Air Balloon, so we would have to also find a Arven or find our Energy Switch as well in order to be able to retreat it. Here they are going to start off by playing down that Ralts, then using this Ultra Ball. They're deciding what to discard, but ultimately they're going to get rid of one of their Stadiums, plus their Drifloon, and this is going to get them a Fez. This way they can draw 3 more cards because we did take a knockout last turn. We are also down to just 4 prizes. They are going to start off by using that counter catcher. They bring up the Munkidori instead of the Toxtricity, so we only need a single energy in order to be able to move this Munkidori. So that is something that's good for us. They do hit us with the Iono though, giving us 4 different cards. We do find another copy of Toxtricity, but we really don't need it. We also find a Watchtower, so if they do put down like a Artisan, we can actually Stadium Bump. That way then they can't get into more Pokemon. They do find another copy of Ralts. They do get that down. They are going to retreat their Munkidori into the Frillish. That way they can keep their Munkidori safe and item lock us for a turn. But they are also going to use this Nest Ball to get down a Mega Diancie right now and put a Bravery Charm on it. So we know that we're going to have to go through that at some point in order to win the game. Now here we do top deck into a Nest Ball, which doesn't really matter. We are just going to fire off this Iono. It does give them 5 cards, but we're really looking for that energy, and we do find it. Here, I am going to put this Bravery Charm on the Mega Absol, making it just that much harder for them to take it out, and we are just going to use the Munkidori to heal up the Absol as well, because that is going to be the key to our success. Now, we are going to have to retreat the Munkidori to be able to swing this turn, and we are going to use this Toxtricity now, putting an energy on itself. That way, then all we have to do is top deck 1 more energy in case they do decide to counter catcher up that Toxtricity later. Now, in here, we do get to take a look at their hand. We see another copy of Munkidori. We also see a Dark Energy, so we know that they're going to get at least 1 Munkidori powered up next turn. They also have a Earthen Vessel, which can get more energy into the discard, and they do have a Iono. We're fine with them hitting us with the Iono because it's going to give us 1 extra card. We do find another Arven off of our prize cards, which is really nice because that is kind of one of the key supporters in our deck. Now in here, they are just going to throw up the Munkidori because it does still have a Psychic, so they can effectively have a free retreat by discarding that Psychic from it. They are going to start their turn by putting down a Dark Energy onto that Munkidori before firing off the Earthen Vessel, getting rid of the Psychic in their hand, and then getting 2 more Psychic as well. Now in here, they are just going to fire off the Iono as well, giving us 3 brand new cards, and those are really great cards. So that boss's orders could be huge if they do get into like a Rare Candy Gardevoir situation. And we do have the Dark Energy just in case they do try to counter catcher up any of our Pokemon. We can now effectively retreat anything. We can also just put it onto the Munkidori if they don't decide to try to retreat lock, and that can allow us to move a bunch of damage. Now they are going to take their time really thinking about how they want to do stuff. They have a Kirlia down right now, so there's not too much that they can do, so they are just going to swing with the Munkidori. That way then they can get us confused. Now then, we don't have a empty bench space, so we can't use Pecharunt to be able to do a free retreat shenanigan to be able to get around this confusion, so that is a big worry that I have at this moment. Now, and we are just going to put another energy onto the Toxtricity, and then we are just going to retreat the Mega Absol manually, losing 2 energy from it, but we can actually attach for turn to that Toxtricity, then use the Arven to be able to get a Super Rod, so that way then we can put some energy back, guaranteeing that next turn we can actually put the energy back onto the Absol and be able to swing with it. Now, and we are still going to take a knockout on this Munkidori, and we do find another copy of Absol off of the top of our prizes. This boss's orders can easily win us the game next turn. All we really have to do is find Night Stretcher or a energy that we put back, plus use the Toxtricity that we will still have on the bench if they do take a knockout on the 1 in the active. That way then we power up the Absol, and then we can use boss's orders on their Gardevoir that they're most likely going to play this turn. Now in here, they do find a Arven, so they are going to get another Munkidori down, and they will most likely be able to find another Dark Energy to put on that. Here, they are going to fire off this Ultra Ball, getting rid of a Nest Ball plus a Ralts. That way then they can actually get their Gardevoir up and online, and they are going to be able to swing with this Diancie, which is a very strong attacker that they can use. Because it's not weak to Dark, that means that we can't really one-shot it effectively other than using our first attack, but we don't really have double Munkidori, so we can't really do that. They do hit us with the Iono, giving us a Arven and a Lillie's Determination. Both of those are huge supporters that we can easily use next turn. We do still have a Fez as well, so if they can, they would love to just counter catcher up that Fez, getting rid of that, and that would be a huge play on their part. Now in here, they are just going to think before playing down another copy of Munkidori. They do have one Munkidori up and running with a Dark Energy right now too, so they will be able to heal 30 damage from this Mega Diancie and be able to put it on something on our board. Now, and they do decide to put it onto our Mega Absol. That way then they can weaken it just enough to be able to take a knockout next turn, even if we do move some damage off of it. Here they are going to just take the knockout on the Toxtricity, so we are going to throw up the one with the free retreat right now. We do top deck into another copy of Arven, so we are going to use this Artisan, looking through our deck, seeing what exactly we have left. And I do end up spotting another play, but I am thinking about bringing down the Munkidori. That way then I can thin my deck a little bit before I use this Fez. I do see that I have everything that I need for the later play, and I'm not going to spoil exactly what that is because I think it is a really cool play. Now in here we are just going to Stadium Bump because we can. That way then we don't need Artisan anymore, and we don't want them having access to it either. Now we do have a Dark Energy to attach for turn. We are just going to put that down onto the Mega Absol, then use Toxtricity. We see that we still have one energy left in deck, which is all that we really need. And I'm debating about firing off this Arven right now too, just to set up our hand. I also could just use this Lillie's, that way then I can put those Arven back into the deck, and that's exactly what I do. I do find another copy of Toxtricity, so we are going to get that down, and then fire off this Unfair Stamp, putting them down to only 2 cards in hand, and we actually get all of the pieces to the combo that I need for the following turn. So here I am just going to do 170 damage to their Mega Diancie, and look at their hand, rip out that Ultra Ball, because it's the only card that could get them effectively anything. They aren't going to be able to Fez this turn either because we didn't take a knockout. They will be able to heal 30 damage off of the Diancie, but the play that I have in mind doesn't matter about that 30 damage. It just mattered that I had at least 50 damage on the Diancie, guaranteeing that we can take the knockout. Their top deck was really strong. They do find that Night Stretcher, so they are able to get back another Dark Energy, and they could use that, or instead what they did is they actually just grabbed back a Psychic. That way then they don't have to put any damage onto their Diancie, and then they will be able to take a 3 prize knockout, going down to just a single prize remaining. Now in here we are just going to throw up our Toxtricity with free retreat again. We top deck into Roaring Moon, it doesn't matter, but here is that amazing play that I was thinking about. So I put down the Pecharunt, I'm going to use this Toxtricity, get a Dark Energy, put that on there, and then I can use this Night Stretcher, get back a Dark Energy from our discard, put that down as well. Right now it does 300 damage, but it also just does 270 to a Diancie, but because we have the boss, we might as well just take out the Gardevoir instead, because we can do that and take the final 2 prizes for the game. Alright, so game number 2 is one of those Ceruledge games as well. This is one where I didn't prize as many of the key cards as the other one. The other one I literally prized the Brute Bonnet, I prized the Roaring Moon, and I prized 2 copies of Toxel, so there was nothing I could do in that other matchup. It was really bad. This one, though, I didn't prize as much. Now in here, our opponent is able to go first. They are having a very strong board. They get down the Squawkabilly. They have their Rocks engine online. They also have 1 Charcadet. They are going to use this Ultra Ball, most likely to grab another copy of Charcadet, put that down as well, before firing off a Carmine to be able to get 5 new cards. They do find a Fighting Gong, so now they can discard it to Earthen Vessel, getting them 2 more energy. That way then they are effectively filling up their discard as fast as possible. They also found their 1 copy of Jamming Tower. We had the perfect starting hand, but they found their 1 of Jamming Tower, and we don't have a Stadium in our hand, so we're really needing to top deck either a Watchtower or our Artisan. Now in here we top deck into the Iono, so that really doesn't help us at all. So now I have to pivot my game plan entirely. Here I'm going to use that Pokégear. We end up finding a Lillie's Determination, so I could just use that. I am going to fire off this Nest Ball. I'm debating about grabbing down the Fez right now, but I know that they have a decent bit of energy in their bin, so if they have a boss's orders, then they could just get a free 2 prizes, and we wouldn't get any value out of that Fez. So instead, I am just going to grab down that Munkidori before firing off that Lillie's Determination. We do find the Stadium Bump here, but it's a little bit too late because we needed to use Lillies. Now, and we do use this Toxel, we are going to be able to get down another copy of Toxel plus the Yveltal. That way then we have free retreat on our side of the field. We also have double Ultra Ball in hand, so we can easily get into double Toxtricity next turn, and we do have the Unfair Stamp to be able to punish them for taking a knockout as well, giving us 5 new cards. Now, the main attacker that you really want from this deck in this matchup is the Brute Bonnet. You want to get that set up, and you want to use Munkidori to be able to move the damage over so you can take those big knockouts on a single prizer rather than giving them a 2 or 3 prizer depending on like Roaring Moon or Mega Absol. Now in here they are just going straight through their hand a ton. They're able to get down a Ceruledge here. They do get down a second one before using that Night Stretcher to be able to get a fire energy back and be able to fully power up one of their Ceruledges. They are just going to swing with the Solrock because they can just take that easy knockout. We top deck into a Toxtricity, which is huge here because now we only need to use a single Ultra Ball in order to be able to get a second Toxtricity down. Now in here, I realize that my Brute Bonnet is prized, so I'm debating about just grabbing down the Fez, drawing 3 more cards, but I do just grab down the Toxtricity. Now, and Roaring Moon is also very important here, so I could just put that down and power it up, taking a knockout on their Ceruledge if I can find like a counter catcher play, and I am debating about doing that. The issue is that it's going to give them 2 prizes this turn as well because we wouldn't be able to move that damage off with the Munkidori. So I should have just put the Dark Energy onto the Munkidori instead. Here though, I do end up finding a Arven off of that Unfair Stamp, and I am debating about just grabbing the counter catcher for a following turn because I do have energy in my hand that I can attach next turn to the Munkidori and be able to guarantee that it doesn't just knock itself out. Now in here, I am just going to grab a Nest Ball instead. That way then we can get down the Fez, be able to draw 3 more cards. Unfortunately, I do draw into more energy, and I make a very questionable play here. So I'm throwing up the Munkidori because I do value the Yveltal at this point very highly because my opponent is running 2 Jet, but at any point I could just use the Yveltal to be able to stall for a couple turns, force them out of the Jets, and then find a way of using like Super Rod, bring the Yveltal back into the deck, and then once they're out of the 2 Jets, I can just retreat lock them until I win the game. Now in here, they are just going to take their time doing a little bit of thinking. They know that they can't take a knockout with Solrock this turn because we have nothing that's only at 78 HP, but they are just going to swing anyway, just dealing 70 damage to the Munkidori. This effectively gave us a free turn here, so we are going to take advantage of it as much as possible. This way we are powering up this Roaring Moon using the Munkidori that we just attached to. This way we can actually put 30 damage onto the other Ceruledge and then retreat the Munkidori into the Roaring Moon, use a Arven to get our 1 copy of Counter Catcher. We might as well thin the deck and grab that TM Evo as well. This way we can bring up the fully healthy Ceruledge, be able to take a knockout on it, not giving them 2 prizes in the process, forcing them to have to actually take a knockout using Solrock if they want those 2 prizes. Now, our hand is really solid here right now. We have the Super Rod, so we can actually put back the Roaring Moon after they take a knockout on it, along with putting back 2 energy as well. That way then we can actually power up the Roaring Moon again in case we want to use it. Now, we do top deck into the boss's orders, which is huge here. We are going to use this Fez first. And here is where I make a very stupid play. So I do put down that Mega Absol, and I use the Super Rod, putting back 3 Dark Energy. I should have just put back the Roaring Moon plus 2 Dark Energy and then gotten that down this turn instead and just swung with that, guaranteeing that we could at least only give 2 prizes rather than giving a 3 prize so they could win the game. My thought process here, though, was I know that they're kind of struggling a little bit with getting more energy into the discard right now, so if I can get rid of the rock and be able to stop them from having more energy into the discard, then they can't one-shot the Absol, which means that next turn I can actually take a knockout on that Ceruledge and potentially be able to take a big lead into this game. Now here they do attach a fire energy to the Charcadet and the active so they can retreat it before firing off their singular copy of Iono, getting rid of our entire good hand right there. They are just going to retreat into the Ceruledge, and lucky for us, they're not doing enough damage to take the knockout, but they do put us just down to 10 HP. And here we do top deck into a Dark Energy, which is really nice because we can now actually move some damage over and be able to take the knockout on the Ceruledge, effectively giving them only a singular way of winning. And I'm debating about using that Iono for a second, and I do decide to use it. It does give me 2 new cards. I do find a Stadium Bump, but we don't have the Bravery Charm, so I'm not going to play it down. Now in here, we are going to take a 2-prize knockout. Even though they have Legacy Energy, the way that it works with Mega Absol's first attack, we're not actually dealing damage to take the knockout, we're just knocking out the Pokemon, so it gets around that Legacy Energy. Now in here, they are going to promote that Charcadet, and the only way that they have of really winning the game is they have to find a Fire Energy and they have to find a Ceruledge, because they need that exact combination. Here they do fire off that Earthen Vessel, and they do also find a Ultra Ball, allowing them to be able to keep just a single fire in their hand and be able to get their last copy of Ceruledge, winning them the game. So, after 4 full weeks with Mega Absol, here are my final thoughts on the deck. I think the deck is genuinely strong. When you get into a fast Mega Absol and start applying pressure, games can end very quickly. That said, there are definitely matchups where Absol doesn't line up well, and those games can feel pretty rough. Overall, I'll call Mega Absol a strong rogue deck right now, and honestly, once rotation happens, I think this deck can have a real shot at moving up into Tier 2 territory. As always, if you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.